In the middle of April, caucus was told about the use of security guards. Jenny Mikakos was at a press conference at the end of March where Martin Pakula mentioned the use of security guards. How's it possible that she only knew about private security guard use in May?
What people knew, when they knew it, what people did, and the degree to which that was right, wrong or indifferent, that is a matter that the board is actively examining today and every day until they produce a report, which will be in early November. And I cannot and I will not pretend to be the chair of the inquiry. That's not why it was set up.
Is that a standard that the community should be satisfied with? This is a senior member of your government who seems to have vagued out at fairly key moments during the pandemic response.
Well, again, it is not for me to draw those conclusions today. Those matters, those and many, many other matters, they'll be matters that the chair of the inquiry could possibly make findings on. That is a matter for her. I know everyone wants answers. I want answers as well. That's why the inquiry was set up. But when you set up an inquiry, you need to be respectful of the work that's being done by that inquiry. And I don't believe it is appropriate for me to, as I said before, to attempt to make findings. It is not appropriate for me to pretend to be running the inquiry. I'm not. The inquiry is being run by others, as it should be. And I know it's frustrating that the final report doesn't come on the final day of evidence, but that's not the way these things work.
I guess we're not asking you to run the inquiry or to be the chair of the inquiry. They're just factual questions. The Victorian Health Management Plan for Pandemic Influenza, which also applies to when there are other novel viruses, so not the influenza, says, and I'm reading, the department's response priorities to a pandemic form the basis for the state controller's strategic intent, which is to limit the morbidity and mortality from pandemic influenza and to limit the impact on the health and well-being of the community by ensuring rapid and early detection of the novel virus in the community and controlling the spread of influenza through various containment strategies, including but not limited to isolation and quarantine. So clearly, yes. Hotel quarantine, the isolation and the quarantine, was the responsibility of the Department of Health and Human Services, was it not?
What you're asking me, Samaya, is to ignore the fact that the very subject matter that you are asking me about is currently being actively considered by an independent process.
I'm asking you.
I'm not finding fault with your logic that these matters you're asking on matters of fact. You're asking beyond that on matters of opinion and judgment, and I'm not questioning your ability to ask those questions. What I'm asking you to consider, though, is the fact that all of those matters and many more, whether they be matters of policy, principle, practice, or the performance of ministers and agencies, they are also, we surely all would concede, they are all being actively considered by an inquiry right now, live. It's not a thing. It's not like they handed their report down yesterday. They are actually doing this work now, and it's for them first to make their findings, make any recommendations, draw any conclusions they see fit to draw, and then there will be a time for me to speak on these matters and most likely many, many more.